At the beginning of the film, a girl is shown lying unconscious on the ground in dim light. Her name is Ria. She has a serious injury to one side of her head. Ria, who is unconscious, suddenly wakes up. Ria doesn't remember anything when she wakes up. She has no memory of where she is or what happened here. But one thing is for sure, this is not Earth. It is some other place than Earth, maybe a spaceship. The reason for this is that she hears some sounds as soon as she wakes up. Since the system has failed, you can hear the computer's voice continuously rebooting the system. Anyway, Ria wakes up and looks around. To be honest, she doesn't understand anything what happened here. Later, when she puts her hand on a door there, it opens automatically. She slowly walks through it. Suddenly, she sees something. A dead man. Someone has stabbed him in the chest with a knife. Anyway, the person who attacked him will probably be here. So, for a rescue, Ria is pulling the knife out of his chest. Again, slowly taking the knife, she goes forward. But there, she sees another dead body again. She is completely scared. Anyway, Ria then goes straight to the control room. Then, just as the computer voice said, she restarts one of its systems. With that, light starts to come into that place that was completely dark. Moreover, there was very little oxygen there. Now there is enough oxygen coming into it. That is, as I said earlier, it seems like this is a spaceship. Is she in some space station now? Anyway, when she opened the main door and stepped out, she saw something. Anyway, this is not space, but some other planet other than Earth. But it is terribly dark there. When she went a little further ahead, she sees something like a shadow there. Even though she was raising her hand to say, "Hello," the figure was also raising its hand in the same way. It was only later that she realized that maybe it was her feeling, or just a shadow. She still doesn't understand anything in particular. Later, while walking through it, she sees a dead body outside again. Moreover, she sees some strange lights in the sky. She stands there looking at it in amazement. At the same time, a spaceship is passing overhead. She notices that too. Similarly, Ria soon realizes one thing. She can't breathe this air here for long. Feeling very tired and exhausted, she quickly comes to that ship, station, and tells the story. Suddenly, the oxygen level boosts. Only now can Ria breathe properly. At the same time, Ria only remembers some things that happened a while ago. A few months ago, a team of 6 people from Earth set off on a big journey. Why? To discover a new planet. All 6 of them are looking for that new planet that is almost like Earth. Before this, about 5 or 6 teams have come here in search of this planet, but none of them have returned. This is the 7th team. Anyway, Ria is a member of this last team. Likewise, each of the people who were in her team are shown. One is Kevin. They are told about everything related to this mission of theirs. That is, that new planet they are going to is almost like our Earth. Moreover, Ria and Kevin are both in love. Also, a person brings them some good beans that are heated and dipped in sauce. His name is Sean. Likewise, their captain. The captain's name is Aiden. Also, there is another lady in their team. Her name is Catherine Clark. Our Catherine Clark and Ria are not on good terms. Both of them are arguing about different things and are constantly arguing. Likewise, the 6th person in their team has not yet landed on this planet. He is still on that mothership in space. He will occasionally bring down whatever food and things they need. His name is Brian. So, don't you understand all 6 of the team? Anyway, our Ria only remembers a few things like this. Now after that flashback, we come to the present. Since we don't remember much, our Ria is walking through that station. That is, as I said earlier, it's not a spaceship, it's just a research station they built on this planet. And so, our Ria is walking through that station without understanding anything. She's in a lot of physical pain, and she's also running a lot of fever. At the same time, we see a box there. It was a small medical box. There was a sticker inside it. It was written on the outside how to use it correctly. It's some kind of advanced treatment. So, just like it was written on it, Ria is taking that sticker and sticking it on her neck. After sticking it, she suddenly feels refreshed. She feels like all her illnesses have subsided a little. Anyway, when she gets that energy, Ria is going straight to take a bath, because her body was all dirty. While taking a bath, a lot of blood is flowing out of her body. Similarly, small wounds are seen on various parts of the body. Anyway, the bath is over. She went out and changed her clothes. At this time, Rhea felt someone coming inside the station. She quickly took out a knife and hid. Then, when that person came, Rhea suddenly attacked him. It was a person wearing a spacesuit and helmet. Anyway, he falls down due to Rhea's attack. Moreover, when Rhea tries to break his helmet, he says, "Rhea, it's me, don't do anything." Now suddenly Rhea stops attacking. Looking at it, it feels like a face she has seen somewhere. Then he says, "Rhea, don't you remember me? Why are you attacking me? What happened here? Don't you understand me? I'm Brian. Brian!" Suddenly, Rhea remembers that old flashback. Brian, when 5 of the 6 of them went down, 1 was in that spaceship. Brian was the one who was doing everything they needed to do in that spaceship up there. Then she remembers Brian a little bit, saying, "I know this guy." He is now holding Rhea up. Now Brian is asking, "Rhea, what happened here? Why did you ask me to come here? What's the matter? Tell me." Now Rhea is saying, "To be honest, I don't remember anything." Suddenly, some things are flashing through her mind. That is, Rhea remembers something about Catherine Clark, who was on their team, attacking everyone like she was crazy. Then Rhea says, "Catherine, she's the cause of all the trouble. That's what I feel in my short memory." Then she goes straight inside the station with Brian. There were 1 or 2 bodies there, and she shows them all to him. Similarly, there is a room in front of Rhea that is absolutely spotless. So, should she give it some treatment? Before that, they are wrapping all the dead bodies there in plastic. Then, Brian goes straight to that medical machine with Rhea. That is, once you get into that machine, it will scan itself and use its robotic arm to perform small surgeries. So Rhea lies down in that big medical box. Then that machine itself scans her body thoroughly. Then they cleaned the small wound on her head and stitched it up properly. So, all the treatment was done, and later the scanning report came. That is, Rhea's head had received a small blow, hence, there was a small bruise on the inside. That is why she is so forgetful. If she rests for a while, she will remember everything. So after all the treatment, Brian is now asking Rhea, "Do you remember anything? Where did we come from? Why did we come?" Now Rhea is saying, "I don't remember anything. Let me go and lie down for a while." So she goes and lies down. But can Myriad sleep after lying down? No, she feels as if someone is opening the door she has closed. Anyway, she goes and closes it. But at the same time, she feels as if someone with a bloodied and disfigured face is looking at her. Suddenly, she jumps up. It was a dream she had. Anyway, Myriad couldn't sleep. Later, Rhea and Brian take all the dead bodies there outside the station and put them there. At the same time, Brian looks up at the sky and says, "Anyway, we can't stay here much longer. We have to get back to our ship as soon as possible. We have to wait about 12 hours, and then we can get to our ship." So Brian leaves all those bodies outside and goes back to the station. Rhea is still standing there. Now she feels like one of those bodies is laughing at her. She is very scared. She is quickly going back to the station. Then, seeing her pale face, Brian asks, "What happened?" Now Rhea is saying, "Will you shut up? You've been following me around for a while, asking me questions. Please, please leave me alone." That is, she has a headache, and she feels like she is having some memories. Moreover, when she sees a pair of scissors lying on the ground, she suddenly remembers something, like stabbing someone in the chest with a pair of scissors like this. When everything is over, she goes crazy and starts crying. And so, some time passes. Now there is a storm blowing on that planet. As I said before, this planet is always in a dark weather. Moreover, there is a storm blowing right now. Not just wind, it is a dust storm. When the wind speed increases, the 2 of them who are now inside the station feel a little scared. So they are watching that wind outside. At the same time, Rhea comes and apologizes to Brian. Sorry for saying that earlier. Now Brian is saying, "Hey, it's okay. I can understand your current state of mind." Similarly, Brian is asking about Kevin. Now Rhea is saying, "I have little memories of him in my mind, but I can't remember anything completely." At this time, the oxygen level inside their station drops significantly, and the system alerts them that dust is getting inside. That's when they all started watching. When they looked, there was a small damage on one side. That iron plate there had moved slightly, so they had to weld it up quickly. Rhea is the one doing that work. She has that memory to do all these things. That is, she hasn't forgotten her skills and things, but she has forgotten everything that happened just before, and she doesn't remember people. Anyway, while she was welding, she saw a hand coming out of it, but it was just a feeling. Anyway, after finishing all that work, they are now making their station safe. After a while, the inside of it has been cleared well, and the oxygen level has been restored to what it was before. At this time, Brian is asking Rhea again, "Do you remember anything?" Rhea is saying, "I still don't remember anything." Okay, anyway, I'll tell you what I understand. Brian has been here for a while now, and then he is telling Rhea what he has understood. That is, our Catherine has some kind of infection. That's when she really started acting like a madman and all these problems started. Is this what happened here? Now Rhea is saying, "That's what I think too. Catherine is the beginning of everything." Anyway, we need to find out in detail. There's still time. So, when Rhea says, "Let's figure it out gradually," Brian says, "No way, we only have 5 hours. We have to figure out what happened here in these 5 hours and get out of here. Because there's already damage to many parts of this one station. If another storm comes, the oxygen levels will be too low and we won't be able to survive here. So we have to find out everything we can in 5 hours and get out of here anyway." Then Rhea asks, "So what about Catherine? Shouldn't we find her somehow? Shouldn't we take her with us?" Brian says, "I don't think that's going to happen. We have to get out of here somehow first." Rhea doesn't like this one thing he said. That's why she's going there. Moreover, she had some old diaries that she had written. When she read the things written in them, she remembers some things. When she reads them, she feels happy. Likewise, that dress and things of Kevin that she loved were there. She takes it and smells it. While smelling, all the memories of Kevin come to her. At the same time, Brian, who is nearby, is playing the flute that he had in his hand. Then, when Rhea heard that music, she goes back to those good memories with Kevin. That is, she feels like the two of them are standing in a place with many plants and trees. It was very nice. They are exchanging their love back and forth. Suddenly, this Kevin shows her something. It was a big well that you can't see the depth of. Moreover, there were many wires and some shining lights around that well. Similarly, while Rhea is standing there with Kevin, a round-shaped drone passes by. At the same time, she sees someone stabbing Kevin. Rhea suddenly jumps out of that dream. At this time, Rhea sees that drone. That is, that drone that she saw in her dream. Suddenly, she takes off that drone. There was some footage inside it. She is now examining that footage and things. That is, some time ago, Rhea and the rest of her team had left this station and gone out wearing spacesuits and things. At that time, there was that dust storm and things. But they are going out now for a reason, so the video and things have been shot correctly. Why are they now coming out wearing these suits and things? The reason is, there are many wells in many parts of this planet. There are some very different signals coming from inside these wells. So how does that signal come? Who is sending it? The 4 of them are going straight to that well to learn about it. Brian, who was in the spaceship above, told them the location of the well, so they went straight to the well. When they looked inside, it was very dark. There were many wires around it. There were lights on in different parts of it, and everything was burning. But they couldn't figure out how deep the well was. So Sean, who was in the group, took a big stone and dropped it into the well. Then he counted, saying 1, 2, 3. That is, when the stone reached the bottom, they could calculate its depth by that time. But suddenly something happened that they didn't expect. The stone that had been dropped down was flying up much faster than it was dropped. It hit Sean's helmet. The helmet also shattered, and his face was shattered. Sean died right there. Everyone else was shocked to see this. So, when Rhea checked the footage of that drone, she saw this visual and all that. Anyway, Rhea starts crying when she sees that thing where Sean dies in that video, because they were all such good friends. So, when she sees that Sean, who was her friend, die, she can't help but feel sad. She's crying. Now Brian is coming over. Brian is asking, "What happened to you? Why are you crying?" Now Rhea is saying, "You don't know anything, right? You weren't the one who told us that there was a signal coming from that well and sent us to that well? And yet you don't know that Sean died? So you're deliberately hiding it from me. You're lying to me about everything." At the same time, Brian is saying, "No, if I told you all this now, maybe you wouldn't come back to the ship with me so quickly. That's why I hid some things. Besides, I don't have any ulterior motives behind it. No, Rhea, what's really wrong with you? I don't understand your state of mind." When Brian says this, Rhea is now telling him something. "Brian, I'll tell you one thing, but you shouldn't be shocked. I killed everyone here." Anyway, won't Brian be shocked when he hears that? He will be shocked anyway. Similarly, Rhea is saying, "Kevin, I killed him too." When Brian asks, "Is this true?" Rhea says, "I don't know, but I feel like I killed all of them. If I stay here for a while longer, I'll get my memories back, and I'll be able to understand all the secrets. Then, can't we just leave?" But Brian is saying, "No, we have to get out of here. We don't have time for that." Now Rhea is rubbing her neck like that. "Sometimes this medical sticker that's stuck on my neck, could it be the reason I can't get my memory back? Why don't we just rip it off?" Now Brian is saying, "No, don't stay for unnecessary events. That medical sticker is the reason you're at least a little healthy and your mind hasn't changed. Don't bother taking it off now."
But Rhea is determined to get rid of it somehow. At this point, Brian is saying, "Rhea, what's wrong with you? Why did we really travel so far from Earth to come here? That different signal we received from here, to study it. We now have some data. This well and that technology inside it, all of this was made by some very advanced aliens. We now have that data. With this, we need to return to Earth as soon as possible. We need to bring this data to Earth. This is really the goal of our mission. We shouldn't be here to do anything else. We shouldn't be here to argue." After this, those wells on this planet are shown. That is, those technology are in these wells. Aliens are probably inside them. Often, a strong wind, some signals, and things come out from inside them, as well as a strange light. So all this comes together from this well and goes into the sky, and something is forming there. It is probably that aliens are doing something, but it is not clear what it is. But one thing is for sure, that alien is hiding somewhere here, and they are much more advanced than humans. After this, Rhea is shown again. Now Brian comes to Rhea and says, "About 2.5 hours, that's all we have. After that, we should go straight to that ship." Rhea says, "There is a way for that. We will understand it as we go forward. Anyway, I can be ready in half an hour." Similarly, Brian sees that one of the stickers on Rhea's neck has been removed. He quickly brings another one and sticks it on her neck. Because Brian is doing this because he is afraid that if this sticker is not on her neck, she will behave like a madman. Anyway, with that sticker stuck around her neck, Rhea is having illusions, feelings again, not illusions, but old memories. When one of her team tries to attack her, she stabs him with a pair of scissors. But when he comes back violently, Rhea stabs him in the leg, and when he falls to the ground, Rhea stabs him in the chest several times. Then this one thing comes to her mind. Seeing this, she jumps up, because she doesn't understand whether it was her close friend, Kevin, or Captain Aiden, who was stabbed. In any case, she has killed one of the two in a very brutal way. Anyway, Rhea immediately calls out to Brian, "Brian, where are you? Can you come here quickly? I understand one thing, everyone here has an infection." But Brian is not heard. Now when Rhea goes to look, someone other than Brian has boarded one of their stations. Rhea can't make out his face clearly. He was wearing a spacesuit. Rhea, who is a little scared, quickly hides from there and goes to another place. When she goes there, she sees Brian's dead body lying there. Rhea, who realizes the danger, quickly takes out a gun. By then, the person in the spacesuit who came to the station is finding Rhea. It was none other than Catherine Clark, who was among them. Rhea didn't look at anything. She is fighting this Catherine as best she can. That is, this Catherine has some kind of infection, so Rhea is fighting against Catherine outside of it now. Finally, she takes a pipe and sticks it inside one of her helmets. Water came out of it so hard that it filled the helmet, and Catherine Clark fell there, suffocating, unable to breathe. Later, after Catherine dies, they take off her spacesuit and everything, and there is a medical box at one of their stations where they are now taking her. Her entire body is being scanned. That is, the machine gives a report just like a post-mortem report, when she died, how she died, and everything. And the most important thing is that the machine says one thing: Catherine Clark is not infected. Hearing this, Rhea is completely shocked. That is, Rhea really killed this Catherine thinking that she had an infection, but Catherine was not infected. Anyway, Rhea quickly puts on her spacesuit, thinking that she doesn't have to stay here anymore. After this, Catherine's body is wrapped in a plastic bag, and she is taken straight to a lift system that was there. That is, as I said, after a certain hour, that spaceship they came from will arrive above where they are standing. So when it arrives, you can't go directly to it, so there's a small incident that's very advanced about this spaceship to go to it. So you have to get into it and go to this ship, It's like an elevator incident. Anyway, when Rhea got inside it with Catherine's body, something was completely damaged. She couldn't go up with it anymore. Likewise, if it's a spaceship, it will arrive here soon. She doesn't have any idea what to do. Anyway, she quickly goes back to that station for the time being. As soon as she leaves, there's Brian lying dead there. His dead body is taken to that machine and scanned. Then his post-mortem report comes. Then what's more, it says that Brian is not infected either. At the same time, that system inside this station gives an alert. That is, something living that cannot be understood has entered this station, and the system is continuously alerting that it cannot be understood. At this moment, Rhea feels as if someone is coming from the darkness. When she looks, it is none other than Brian. It is only now that Rhea realizes the deception. That is, Brian was tricking Rhea. After tricking her, Rhea used him to kill Catherine. Rhea, who has realized the deception, says, "So Brian, you are behind all this, right? You are the one who got the infection, right?" Brian, who has now come to her, says, "You don't remember anything, do you? You will remember everything. I will remind you." Saying this, Brian, who has come to her, places his hand on the wound on her forehead. At that time, his finger is going down to her head. At this moment, Rhea is remembering some things. That is, when Rhea's boyfriend, Kevin, and their captain, Aiden, inspect their station, they see something different. That is, some strange creatures that look like worms are crawling somewhere inside their pipeline. They don't understand what it is at the time they see it. Moreover, after it enters the station, all their electrical circuits are having problems. No signal is coming from the bottom to the top, or from the top. Therefore, Brian comes down from the spaceship above because he can't get a signal. At the same time, everyone else on the station is checking their station, and no matter which machine they open, these creatures are laying eggs inside. Small worms are coming out of it. No one understands what it is. At first, they think it's nothing to worry about. It's just a fungus or worms on this planet or something. But Brian is also coming here, and they are discussing this and that. Then they realize that they can't stay here much longer, and they decide to go back as soon as possible. That is, Kevin is also saying the same thing. They can go back to Earth with this information they have received. But Rhea doesn't agree to that. "We still have a lot to learn, so why don't we go after we finish it?" she asks. But Captain Aiden says, No, we don't need to stay here anymore. Because we figured out why we came here, so, according to protocol, it's best to go back. Anyway, there's not much time. Let's all pack up quickly. We have to leave here in about 12 hours. But Rhea, who wasn't very interested in this, quickly shows you what she's showing you. There are some worms here, and she's taking a sample from it and trying to learn what it is. While she's doing some tests in the lab and studying those worms and that one of their cells, Rhea is very shocked. At the same time, Captain Aiden comes there. "What are you doing here?" When Rhea asks, she shows it. That is, there is this sample that she just collected, and that one organism in that sample is growing very quickly. That is, its cells are splitting very quickly. It is growing by doubling very quickly. Not only that, but the glass jar that was placed there is broken and it comes out. That thing that looks like an octopus suddenly jumps into the body of Captain Aiden, who was there, and gets inside his nose. With that, the captain loses control. The creature that entered him is later controlling Aiden. Aiden, who has become like a zombie, is now coming to attack Rhea. At the same time, Kevin and Catherine Clark are coming there. Catherine is scared as soon as she sees this. Now Kevin is coming and trying to save Rhea. At the same time, Rhea is stabbing Aiden several times with the scissors she has in her hand. Aiden is now throwing her away. Later, Aiden is now going to catch Kevin. Kevin can't fight Aiden because he doesn't control his body. Now Rhea takes a knife and gives it to Kevin. Kevin uses that knife to slit Aiden's throat and kills him. But as soon as he dies, the worm comes out of his insides and climbs into Kevin. Later, just like Aiden, Kevin becomes Kevin. Now Kevin comes to attack Rhea. That is, the worms that entered his brain are the ones that control him even after they become full. At the same time, Catherine, who is wearing a spacesuit, comes there and saves Rhea. But Kevin smashes Catherine's helmet. Similarly, Kevin kills Brian, who came there. Seeing this moment, Rhea quickly takes another helmet and gives it to Catherine, and then tells her to escape. By then, this Kevin is lying in blood, and that too in a horrible way. At the same time, Rhea realizes that there is no other way out but to kill him.
she hides with a knife in her hand. But later, when Rhea looks, Kevin is not as violent as before. He is standing very normal, and then he calls Rhea. Rhea thinks that maybe the worm inside him has gone and goes there, but she has a knife in her hand. She goes to Kevin with it hidden behind her back. Then she goes to Kevin and talks to him. He talks normally, but with some differences. That is, Rhea understands that the worm is making him act. It is still inside him. Rhea doesn't look at anything. She puts the knife in his stomach and stabs him. Kevin is returning to his original nature. That is, he behaves the same way when that creature is inside. Now this creature suddenly comes out of one of his ears and jumps straight at Rhea. And then there is that hole in her forehead. Through that hole, this creature is climbing into her brain. That is, even though it is complete, this creature is now trying to control Rhea. But Rhea, who understood that, is thinking, I will not give up my body to control it, and thinking that I must die first. She is taking some chemicals she found there. It was a very poisonous chemical, potassium cyanide. Because of this one thing she did to die herself, there is that worm that entered her, and it cannot control her brain even though it is complete. In the same way, Rhea is not dying now. She is reaching a state of being in the middle of both. That is, if this worm could have completely controlled the rest of the people when it entered their bodies, now Rhea's body, because of this poison inside, cannot control these creatures even though it is complete. That is, Rhea is now in a state where half of her consciousness and half of the consciousness of those creatures that entered her are combined. Moreover, those creatures are also trying to talk to her from her brain. That's how Rhea understands the shocking secret. The alien species they came looking for is really these creatures. Our world is very vast, and our Earth is one of its planets. The humans who live on that planet, we have some of our own characteristics. But we can't say that the rest of the planet's creatures are like this. Now, these creatures on this planet where they have come are the intelligent species there. They are the ones who made those wells and created those technologies in them. But why are these creatures attacking the humans who have come here? The creatures are starting to speak to Ray through Rhea's mind. This is our planet, our home. I also checked your memory even though it was complete. I went through all your memories. I understand that your planet is Earth. After destroying and erasing that Earth, didn't you come here in search of another planet? Would you be satisfied if you destroyed this one planet too? But we will not agree to that. This is our survival. We will not leave even a human who comes here alone. We will eliminate it. Once we enter the mind of a human like you, we can take all the data about you. We can eliminate your race, your planet itself. We are so much more advanced than you. The creature is now speaking to her through Rhea's mind.
Realizing that this is a big danger, Rhea says, "You're not going to do anything."
Do you know what Rhea does after saying this? She rips off that sticker from her neck. That is, to some extent, the creature can control her because of that sticker stuck on her neck. In fact, the alien is the one who is useful because that sticker is on her body. That's why this alien kept coming to her mind and saying, "Stick that sticker, stick it, stick it." That's how she took that sticker and stuck it on her neck. Anyway, she ripped it off now. After this, Rhea goes straight to that medical box right next to it. Rhea is lying on that machine to scan her body again. So even though it's complete, her body is now being scanned by that machine. And so the report came. At this point, there is something in the report that says that alien or that infection is inside her head, and now that alien is in her brain. Anyway, she is now understanding that truth. Moreover, you may be wondering now, that is, at the beginning of the movie, when Rhea fainted, Brian came down from above to help her when she woke up. But a while ago, we also saw a scene where Brian was killed by a crazy Kevin because of this infection. So how can these two be reconciled? Here is where you need to understand one thing. Everything we saw from the beginning of the movie was just a lie. Those were lies that Rhea had in her mind, or that alien that had invaded her brain told her mind. Brian never really came there. Brian has already died. Not only that, didn't Rhea kill Catherine in the fight with Catherine? But when she realized that she didn't have the infection, she went straight to that elevator with Catherine's dead body and saw that everything was in ruins. Then, thinking that she couldn't go through it anymore, didn't Rhea turn around and come back to this station? That was also just a lie. The lie that the alien told her mind. That was not real, not true.
Anyway, Rhea is understanding all these truths here. At the same time, that machine is asking, shall we take out that alien species inside you through a surgery? Rhea is now giving permission for that. At that moment, that machine is performing some surgeries inside her. Finally, this machine is taking out that alien species from inside her brain. As soon as it comes out, that thing becomes terribly aggressive and shows something. Anyway, Rhea has now escaped from its hands. But this alien that came out goes straight into Brian, who is already dead. That is, this alien is now entering a corpse. Therefore, this alien can control that body to a great extent. It can also change its body as it thinks. Anyway, this alien is now attacking Rhea by controlling the body of Brian, who is now dead. Very long arms, like octopus tentacles, are coming out of its body and attacking Rhea.
Rhea can only hold on to it to a certain extent. She is running away from it. At that time, she sees a small cylinder. She also gets a flamethrower in her hand. She is signing a program with it. That is, this Brian who came to attack her. Not Brian, it's an alien. She is going to hit him with this fire. The fire is hitting him with a good power. Even though it is complete, this fire is now catching on its body, and in the end, it is dying. Anyway, at this point, Rhea quickly puts on her spacesuit, puts on her helmet. Then she doesn't look at anything, takes the necessary things and goes straight to that small lift. That is, that pod, that small vehicle that is needed to go up, a small ship, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, she goes straight to it. When she gets inside it, there is no problem. Nothing has happened to it. This alien's plan was to make it seem like there was something wrong with it, so that she wouldn't go here by making a mistake, to trap her here. That is, nothing humans learned about this alien should reach Earth, and humans shouldn't return here. This was the aliens' plan. But even though the aliens managed to kill everyone as they thought, in the end, only Rhea was saved. The movie ends here by showing this.